Hey YouTube, welcome back to Tinker with Tools. Dewalt has released a new top hammer drill, so it's time we compare it against a couple others, so let's get into that on Tinker with Tools. Now Dewalt's new drill is the DCD1007. It is their new top tier XR hammer drill. Gone are the days of flex fold advantage, power detect. We are now just back down to XR tools, and I really like that because it makes it a little bit easier on the buyer. They've retained the 3-speed gearbox, the power output has been increased, and although the weight has gone up when you talk about the tool only weight, now we're going to go through and cover everything, but first I want to go ahead and talk about what we are comparing it against today. First, easily one of the most requested drills to compare to is this, the Milwaukee 2904, the Gen 4 fuel hammer drill. This has been out basically 2 years at this point, and it was a decent improvement over the Gen 3. The Gen 3 was already a great drill, but they did add auto stop technology, something that the Gen 3 didn't have, and this is easily the most compact yet still very powerful full-size drill on the market, and that stands out when you use it. Another just massive drill is going to be the Bosch 1330C, and this, when it was introduced, was dubbed the world's strongest drill. They had very specific measurements with that. You can check out the full video on that if you want to see it. But this drill does have a lot of performance in it. It's not the fastest drill, but it does have a couple other things that really kind of set it apart in my opinion. Namely, you can easily turn on or off the kickback control, which is just awesome. And then they also have included an angle detection that will help you drill at a 45 or a perfect 90, but it does come with its size. This is the longest drill we're going to be testing. Next up is going to be the Flex Turbo Hammer Drill. This drill has been out for roughly about 3 years at this point. This one has a standard 2-speed transmission, but then they have the turbo button going to increase the RPMs in both speed 1 and speed 2, and it makes it one of the faster drills we're going to test today. But there have been some complaints from different users that you can only use that so much, and eventually it kind of goes into a protective state. Now, something that does set Flex apart is they do have a lifetime warranty. It obviously is something that could go away, but so far they've continued to offer it each and every year. And then the last drill we're going to be talking about today is going to be the Makita XGT hammer drill. This drill is one of the nicer drills in my opinion to use up to a certain point, but it's definitely not the most powerful drill out here. There's a lot to like about this drill. There's some things that I don't love about it, so I want to go ahead and see this tested against that Dewalt. Alright, so when it comes to RPM, the Makita XGT is going to be at 2600 in its speed 2. It's also the fastest down in speed 1. Flex with its turbo button can get up to 2500. Bosch is at 2200 RPMs, Milwaukee's at 2100. The Dewalt drills have always been a little bit different because when you're in their drill setting, you're going to be getting a max of 2000 RPMs, but when you switch it to hammer drill setting, it does go up to 2250. What sets the Dewalt apart, in my opinion, is they also have a speed 2. That speed 2 is a good middle ground, more torque to be able to do a little bit more demanding situations. This is always a difficult category when it comes to when you include Dewalt because they do not publish torque figures for their tools. And they publish unit watts out, which is almost a measurement of how much work can do. Now, when it comes to the other tools, Flex leading the way at 1400, tied with Milwaukee. Bosch is at 1330. Makita is at 1250. Having used these tools, it is definitely the most powerful drill that Dewalt has ever put out, and I think it'll show in some of the testing we do today. All right, so weight, let's just get that right out of the way. Dewalt is 4.2 pounds, bare tool, just barely eking out Bosch. Now, Makita and Flex are going to be a little bit further back in terms of weight. They're right around 3.75 pounds, and then the lightweight of the group is going to be that Milwaukee. They have certainly put out an impressive amount of performance given the size of the tool. It is coming down all the way at 3.3 pounds bare tool. Now, when it comes to length, obviously, this is where Dewalt has improved quite a bit over the prior generation. They've taken almost an inch out of the length of the tool. Bosch is all the way up at 8 inches, and then you have the Flex and Makita just over 7 inches each, and then the Milwaukee is the shortest at 6.9 inches. And I think it's one of the compelling reasons for going with the Milwaukee versus some of these bigger drills, but there are trade-offs to that. Obviously, when you have that much performance in a small package, there's going to be issues with heat. And that's something you've always seen with Milwaukee tools is they can get very hot. Obviously, bigger tools have a little bit more room for fans and venting and different things to kind of expel some of that heat. All right, so with that testing out of the way, and you've kind of seen the different times, I'm just going to go through and hit a couple of high points on there. With speed being one of the considerations when we're talking about lighter duty fasteners, you're not really taxing them. Obviously, that's where you're going to see something like the Flex and the Makita with their higher RPMs. But as we got up to those bigger fasteners, that's where you really started to see the ability for some of these tools to kind of power through and do some work that maybe some of these other drills were not able to do. And then when we get to the wood drilling, they're all good, powerful drills. You're going to be able to get work done with all of them. What separates it out is that 2 9/16 bit for me, because as you have seen, the Dewalt goes through a pressure treated 4x4 in speed 3, and other than the amount of chips it's ejecting in a fairly violent manner, it actually is really smooth. It goes through it well. It's almost effortless in terms of how it compares to some of these other tools. The Dewalt really is just a big, strong drill, and if you just want something that's going to power through stuff, in my opinion, that's where to go. Obviously, when you're talking about Flex and this Milwaukee on the 6 amp hour forge, you're going to have pouch cell technology. Flex also has larger pouch cell battery in their 10 amp hour. Milwaukee has upcoming tabless cell batteries going to be released in their 8 and their 12 amp hour batteries. The high output 6.0 is a bad one to run on as well. Now, Bosch does have upcoming tabless cell batteries as well. Right now, they're running 21700s in their batteries. Now, note about Makita. I know that the 4 amp hour that I'm running it on is not the best battery that they make. I've heard good things about both the 5 and then obviously the 8. But if I'm being honest, running an 8 amp hour battery, which is equivalent to an 18 volt 16 amp hour battery, if I'm not mistaken, it's just not something I'm going to be doing on that drill. Now, they do have a high performance version of their 4 amp hour that is currently available in Japan, but in Makita fashion, it has not arrived here in the US yet. Now, Dewalt obviously is going to be a standout with batteries. They're going to have their tiny little compact 1.7 amp hour power stack, their 5 amp hour power stack. They have some really good 21700 cell packs. They have their Flex Volt packs, and now they have this tabless cell power pack battery. And from all my testing, it performs really well. Now, in terms of other safety tech, Dewalt does have their Perform and Protect, their anti-kickback control, finally on a Dewalt drill. I like the addition of it. It works well. From what I have seen, you cannot turn it off. If you know of a way, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. The Flex is also not able to be turned off, but it does have it. It works well. Bosch gets the gold star for having it, but then also just giving you a push button to be able to turn it off when you want to power through something. Milwaukee has auto stop, which is their anti-kickback, and you can turn it off by putting it in the neutral position, then clicking the trigger 5 times, and it will kind of turn on or off that same way. Makita doesn't actually have kickback control, though if I'm being honest, the way Makita tools work, they do seem to cut out before you can really put yourself in too much danger with them, perhaps protecting the tool. All right, last and not least, let's talk about price. Dewalt is going to be the most expensive at $249 bare tool. Next up is going to be the Makita at $244 bare tool. Milwaukee standard pricing is $199, but you can get it as part of different deals and stuff, usually for a little bit cheaper. The Bosch is next up at $189. Watch out for this one. It goes on sale for a lot cheaper than that quite a few times. Flex bare tool pricing is going to be the cheapest at $179, and now that they're on Amazon, you can get some pretty good deals on that tool. All right, so with all that testing done, let's talk conclusions. I will say this about the Dewalt. They made a big drill. It is a big, strong, powerful drill. And so if you're going to make a big tool, at least make it powerful and make it do something that the rest of these tools can't. And that is something that I feel like Dewalt has done. Nope, not really. All 5 of these drills are nice, strong drills. I think they have their own strong suits in different applications, but that Dewalt, they are finally up there at the top. It's just they're also at the top of the scales. So there you have it. That is how it kind of compares to some of the top drills on the market. If you have questions, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try and get them answered for you. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Make sure to turn on notifications so you get notified. And as always, thank you for all the support. And until next time, I'll catch you on Tinker with Tools.